edition of Halftime Chat and another live edition. And today we've got another special guest, record producer, songwriter, music executive, Mr. Herb Middleton. Um, his catalog is amazing. He's actually, worked with some of the big hitters in R&B and hip hop. So it's going to be great talking to Herb, see where he was born and raised, talk about his production, and also he's got a he was doing some talent show stuff as well. So it'll be great talking to Herb. So I'm going to bring him in, and you guys who are fans, make sure you're ready to ask Herb some questions along the way. So I'm going to bring Herb in, and we're going to start this interview. Hey, Herb, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm trying to get coordinated here. I'm in the studio, and in the actual room where I work, the reception was bad. So, am I okay now? I'm a
Yeah,
little better.
yeah, we got some strong signal, and we got a clear view and everything. Yeah,
Okay, nice. I'm in
yeah,
this low chair. Let me see if I could be right here. Is this better?
yeah,
Yeah, I think.
yeah. We've got you in. So
Okay,
we got people from around the world who are going to be joining in live and who are fans, and so they're probably gonna drop in some questions and stuff. But
okay,
anyway, with all my guests, I always start off by asking them where they were sort of born and raised, so because we've got an international audience.
okay. Well, I was born in the South Bronx, New York. Born and raised in the Bronx, and I spent most of my life in the Bronx until 1994. I moved to Delaware, the first state in the United States.
Okay. I mean, I mean, for those of us who aren't from America, when we think, I mean, hip hop sort of put a lot of New York on the map, and so like here in the Bronx and Queens and all these places. What was it like growing up in the Bronx?
It was exciting being a youngster in the Bronx because, like you said, it was the home of hip hop, and it was a lot of fun as a child because the block parties in the fire hydrants blowing that the fire hydrants was our swimming pool. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And the DJs playing in, with the crates, with the vinyl. So we're talking about a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Like it was really fun and very important for me to be what I am today. To be around that long to get the history of the genre of hip hop.
I think we hear about someone called the Cool Herc and stuff. Was he from the Bronx, or were you around when he was doing his thing? And then,
Yeah, I was around Kool Herc. He was actually he's the historian of hip hop.
wow,
He actually I lived on the same block as he did,
wow,
probably after he moved away.
wow.
Um, on that was Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx.
I've watched a documentary recently that Public Enemy Chuck D put out, and he was really talking about not just the hip hop of the history of hip hop, but about the Bronx as well, um, and how um, I think how drugs came in and how music was there at the same time, and even the history of how people started DJing, and then the MC was pretty much the oh, just get ready for the next song, and then the shift of how the MC became a lot more important. But as a kid watching all of this, did you think hip hop was going to be a big thing, or were you still into disco, or what was it like being a kid? And
I really didn't have a clue of the depth of hip hop, even though I was around it because I was at a young age I was really focused on R&B classics.
wow,
You know what I'm saying? My brother today is makes 3 years that he passed away.
oh
He
sorry to hear
he yeah, thank you. He we shared a room, so I was listening to Earth, Wind and Fire, BT Express, Cool in the Gang, Barry White, you know what I'm saying? All of
that.
the
Wow,
Temptations. I was that kind of music was going into my system while I had this, the hip hop going on in the park. So I was getting two of both worlds, which really fuses my chemistry of what I do today.
Yeah, I mean that's really interesting. I mean, because most people that we've interviewed who came from your era, they weren't as much into the soul. Either they were in church and they were singing in the church, or it was hip hop. But for yourself, who got you into the classic R&B?
My brother, he played
Wow.
he, he played it, and I couldn't help but to hear it. And then there was a station in New York called WRVR. It was a jazz station. So I got the Crusaders, I got Al Jarreau, I got a lot of music in my system at a very early age. And
Wow.
then I started. He encouraged me to pick up the bass, but before then, I always tell the story. My parents bought us drum sets one Christmas, bought me a Mickey Mouse drum set, bought him a real drum set, and when he wasn't home, I get on his drum set and beat it, whatever. But I did come up in the church as well, so I had
Okay.
all of this fused, and then I played in my first band out of junior high school was a Latin band. So I got so much education, being in the Bronx, from this great gift of all music.
So it feels like, did you ever think about singing then, or was it really just being a musician?
Nah. I never thought about singing, you know what I'm saying? To be honest, I was always shy, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So singing, I was in a little choir, but I was, even if you saw the picture of me, I was off to the side trying to hide. I didn't want I never liked the attention, you know what I'm saying? I just loved what I was doing.
Okay. So did you gravitate more to the bass as you were getting older, or did you stay with the drums?
I gravitated more towards the bass. That was actually, I earned my first check with the bass. You know,
Okay. Was that in the group, the band that you were part of, or playing in church, or where?
actually, I was playing for a church out of Brooklyn, and I was playing for 100 voice choir at like
Wow.
13 years old, 14 years old, and got a chance to record with that same choir in Manhattan, and then being my first time in a real live studios, I was like,
But when did you have the idea of, actually I want to really do this music full time, or was it always a passing hobby?
No, it came organically because I was playing in the same church. I was playing the bass, and then I started playing the keys in that church. And then I know you're familiar with Loris Holland. Are you familiar with Loris
No,
Holland?
no.
Are you familiar with Ruby Turner?
Yes.
Okay, he was one of Ruby Turner's producers,
Okay.
Loris Holland, and he was playing at the same church. He was actually the minister. He was the MD.
Okay.
And when he left, he came back and invited me to his studio and started showing me how to program music. I was like in heaven on earth. So I was able to use the computer, which was an Atari, and program my music. And so it went from that to me doing it on my own. Next thing you know, I'm getting a call from Teddy Riley, and
Oh, okay. Yeah. Before we, okay, we want to rush into stuff. So, he invited you to come into the studio to learn about this, what year was this? Because I think a lot of us will start putting dates together and think about what was happening in music around.
uh, are you gonna really ask me that
No,
question?
well, you don't have to say October 2006, but you could
Nah,
think
it
about.
was not. I'm. It's not a bad question. I'm just joking. Hold on for a minute.
Okay.
I got to charge myself. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
It was in the '80s. It had to been in the '80s when. Yeah, it was in the '80s when I got to be around Loris.
Okay. Okay. Somebody just said, yeah, Ruby Turner on Jive Records. She had a hit called
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah,
rather go blind than greetings. Okay, yeah. So, so this was in the 80s. So you started to learn the programming side. Did you leave the musician side, the bass and things like that?
no sir.
Okay, so you're just doing the two and stuff.
Yeah, just because you can imagine you as a musician, I'm now introduced to programming a computer that can allow me to use all of my gifts.
Hmm.
And so that was like a playground for me. Because I could play the drums with the what I'm saying, and it programmed the computer, and I had my bass knowledge and I had my keys. So it was like it fit like a glove. You understand?
So actually, so you felt programming and be producing that way was actually a lot more fun than just being a just musician. Did you make that sort of a switch?
No, but they just worked together for me. I still practice playing. I was definitely still playing in church and playing the keys and playing and sometimes even playing the drums. So I never left my musicianship when I
Okay.
started program. To be quite frank with you.
During that time, what was the? I mean, when we think about R&B, because you mentioned some of the classics like "Cool and the Gang" and "Earth, Wind and Fire," but around the time when you were doing this, what was out? What was? I mean, who were the groups that were out, or bands that were out, or singers that you were like, okay, honing your skills and listening to?
New Jack Swing.
So had Guy and had Teddy already started doing the Johnny Camp and Keith Sweat?
Uh, at the time, it was before Q Sweat. From what I can remember, it was Guy.
Okay. So, so I guess what was it like hearing, say, Johnny? I think well, Keith Sweat came with I Wanna, and then we had the
Johnny Kemp.
yeah, we had the Johnny King. But what was it like for you as a musician learning to be a producer, um, hearing hearing sort of Teddy coming out with those tracks?
What was it like for me?
Yeah, just listening. I mean, if you know, because you were growing up listening to Earth, Wind and Fire and stuff. Now you all of a sudden you're seeing a young kid just like yourself, you know, doing changing music.
It was just it was a new experience to hear the funk that came with New Jack Swing and hearing the melodies represent that I heard, like melodies and vocal presence like from Aaron Hall, who could
Mm.
had that church and that R&B soul, and then impacted with Teddy's New Jack Swing. It was a new thing. It was really a New Jack Swing, and me being the person that watched Guy on the videos when I was young, um, I fell in love with the style of New Jack Swing.
When did you decide to actually you wanted to go into the direction of okay, I'm going to actually now start to want to make a living in music as opposed to it being a hobby?
Uh, I it happened. I wasn't even looking for it. I
Okay.
was I was in the right place at the right time. Can I go into the story about
Yeah,
Teddy, or
yeah,
do you want
yeah.
me?
No, no. Well, before you get into, how did you say right place, right time? What happened?
I was in the studio, soundtrack studio in New York, and I had uh, I had met a young lady who was a friend of Teddy Riley's, and we became friends. And she passed some of my music to him, and I got a call from him because
What?
he heard my music, and he heard me. He heard "Talk to Me." I produced "Talk to Me" on Eminem, and when he heard that, he called me and
Wow.
invited me to be a part, be one of his producers.
Now, wait a minute. So, what around what year was this? Are we talking? Was he still in New York, or has he moved to Virginia?
That was Virginia. He was in Virginia Beach at that time.
So, wow. So, when he heard your stuff, who you were you? still in New York? Just were you doing it for fun, or what? Were you serious about it, or?
I was still finding my way. I had actually there was I shared a room in Soundtrack Studio with an engineer producer by the name of Tony Prendat, and I was just always in the studio making music and just programming. Didn't know where it was going. I I ran into Freddie Jackson one day, and
Wow.
um, then the next thing you know, I passed my music on to the Marshall McClurkin.
Oh,
And
Marsha from Abstract.
Yeah, from Abstract and Eminem.
Eminem. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. Because yeah, we. I mean, yeah, we know the whole backstory of the whole New Jack Swamp. So okay. So and actually, yes. So she. So yes, we all know when she left them and moved to moved back to New York when Teddy. Oh, so she was back in New York when she met you and she's heard your stuff.
Yeah, and so I did this track for them called "Talk to Me." It was a track first, and that's what she passed on to him. And
Okay,
when he heard it, I got the call.
okay. And did she tell you that she was going to do that?
She did. I think she mentioned that she was going to share the music that I did with him.
And but what did you think though? Did you think, wait, man, this is Teddy groove me
Hey,
and
look, this Teddy Riley. Do what you got to do. Do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? I I um I before I got to that point though, I did have some prior experiences that brought me to that gave me some foundational opportunities. Deidre Tate. I don't know if you're familiar with Deidre Tate, but Deidre Tate used to manage a company. She used to work for MoTown. So I was a bus dispatcher.
okay, what is that?
I was one of those guys that when the bus came in, I put it down. Like
Okay, okay, okay.
in Manhattan, I was doing that, and I met one of the passengers asked me, "What else do you do? You have any hobbies?" I said, "Yes, I do music." So she said, "Well, bring your music and let me hear it. I may be able to pass it on to somebody."
Wow.
So she brought my cassette in. You know how long ago that was. I brought my cassette in and I gave it to the passenger, in which he gave it to Deidre Tate's sister. I think her name is Janina. It's been a while. So anyway,
Yeah,
I got a call from Deidre. She wanted to meet me down at Motown, and then I went to Motown and got introduced to Floyd Norris, rest in peace. He's the one that introduced me to Big Bub in that situation. I get to that.
yeah.
And so that was the first experience of me being in a major record company. Through
Wow.
Deidre Tate is such a landmark of my success. I'll never forget her. She gave me the opportunity to work with an artist for the first time in a professional studio in Brooklyn.
Wow.
So that was before Teddy came along. But now,
Yeah.
now, now we all caught up.
Yeah. Who was the artist that you worked with on Motown?
Her name was, oh boy, her name was Kim. Like, I can't make this up. Kim, if you're watching, her name was Kim, and I can't remember her
Did it
last.
come out? Did the track come out? Did the album?
No, I don't even know where it went. But I don't even know where it went. But it was my first time like in the studio without Loris producing an artist.
Okay. So after that, that's when so you'd known Marsha for before you'd known her and that when she knew you heard about your music.
Excuse me?
Marsha, that you'd known her did you know you knew her back even before she was with Abstract and signed to Gene Griffith?
No, I didn't know her. I just She was just happened to be sitting in the lounge in soundtrack because she was visiting Teddy. So we got to talking, and she told me she had, she was a part of a group, Eminem. Mary Brown was her partner. That was a part of the group, and
Yeah.
so I started working with them, and I did this track called "Talk to Me," you know,
Yeah.
and that's when everything started with me and Teddy.
So the thing is that, and for anyone who doesn't know Eminem, so it was first we had Abstract signed to GR Production. They had an amazing album. Teddy did most of the production alongside Bernard Bell on that album. The album didn't get pushed or promoted properly. When they broke up from GR Production, um, Mary and Marsha decided to. They got a deal. Was it? I can't remember what label they got the deal with. If it was Capitol or so, but they got a deal to sign as Eminem. And you did the first 6 tracks on the album.
On
You
that
did
album, yeah,
Feel No Shame, We're Falling Apart, Talk to
yeah,
Me, My Way, and I think Never Let Go.
yeah. Those are my songs, man. That's a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh, so what? So you and Soundtrack doing some work. You ran into her and she said she was, she told you her backstory and everything. Oh, it's Atlantic. Thanks. It was on Atlantic. Um, it, could they just did they just who did they have to talk to get you to do the production on their stuff?
Uh, this was before. Excuse me, I gotta get this plug.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
this was before they were signed.
Oh, before they got assigned to Atlantic.
Before they
Okay.
got signed to Atlantic.
Oh, so
And
they probably needed the songs for demos to show.
yeah, exactly.
I always wondered why they didn't get Teddy to do any production on the track. Did you ever find out? Because they were all part of the same team and everything.
Teddy did a remix on "Talk to Me."
Yeah, but that was
Not
he.
the same. It's not the same. Uh, I don't know if Teddy. I don't know what was going on. I was just so happy to be a part. Like I really didn't know the business like that. I was a part of this production company, Download Productions, with like the great well, his name was Floyd Norris. He was the founder of Download Productions. So it was through that production company that I signed to that I was able to work Eminem's record and Big Bub's.
So were you also, because my guy Stevie X about Download, was he a member of Download Production with Redhead Kimpin?
Yeah. Redhead came, he was also a producer under Download.
Okay, so that kind of makes sense. So they got you to produce, but who was teaching you about the business, about publishing, about royalties and
Uh,
points and
you ever heard it's a hard knock life? it was a hard knock life. You know what I'm saying? I was really, again, when you come from a place of when your dreams come to fruition, sometimes you're not asking the questions. I was young. I was naive. I just was glad to be working. So a lot of things I didn't know. And you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
I think a lot of new artists go through the same thing today. They a lot of things they don't know. They just glad to be. Well, it's not the same type of day it was back then. You know,
yeah. I don't. I think there's probably less than 5 people out of the 100 and so I've interviewed that knew the business. Everyone was just like yourself. Really wanted, had the talent, had the hunger, and there was always somebody right behind who knew how to take advantage of that.
yeah.
Um, but that got your foot in the door and got you doing production. You did talk to me then. Did once they got had you finished the other tracks before they got the deal, or did you do talk to me? They got the deal and you went back to the studio to do the other tracks.
Talk to me was the door opener,
Okay.
and then their deal came. And next thing I know, I was doing a bunch of tracks and getting paid.
Well, for those, I mean, one of the things that both Marsha and Mary had, I think, I think it was very hard to find anybody who has better background vocals or harmonies than Mary and Marsha. What was it like producing them?
Crazy, like they like you said, their harmonies, their blend was amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like their it was just like angels, like in the studio, you know, and their voices blended so well.
How do you decide who sings lead on a song? Because they just seem to interchange like they're, you know, basketball. It doesn't seem like there's a Scotty or Michael. It just feels as if they are both on the same level. How did you decide, as a producer? How do you move around to see who sings when and stuff?
For that particular project,
Yeah,
or
when
in,
you work on Eminem, when you worked on their stuff.
or when I worked with them, they had their own chemistry because for them being both in abstract, they had their chemistry. So I really focused on the production and how the songs came out. They did most of the writing. You know,
Okay,
I
yeah.
chip in every now and again. You know, what I'm saying?
Yeah, the I mean, there's a lot of people who remember Download Production just because of they've seen that name on some stuff. Apart from Eminem, did you do anything else with them before you moved to Teddy with Download?
I didn't do anything. No, no. That was it. That
Okay,
record.
okay. The other thing is, what was it like then? Did you know Redhead before the whole Do the Right Thing? Did you know who he was when?
He's another guy that I saw on on um on a video music box, and now now I'm working with the guy. It's like this is unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? And it
Yeah,
was unbelievable moments. You know, for me at a youngster as a young producer. You know,
yeah,
working with people that you've seen on TV. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Could you imagine? You know.
I but what was because most of us, as I said, knew him as that Do the Right Thing, which is a classic New Jack track. What was he like as a producer? Because we didn't really get to see much of that side, understand much of him on that side. Did you see him work?
Oh yeah, we actually worked on we worked on a couple of records together. Uh, he was very innovative. He had very innovative. Had some real serious energy. Um, he just I can tell from working with him that he enjoyed producing, and he enjoyed collaborating with myself. You know what I'm saying? He was a team player when it came to production. You know, there was no egos. It was like
Mm.
let's work this together, man. Like, and now it was a pleasant working atmosphere with Redhead Kingpin.
Wow. Do you still keep in touch with him?
I haven't talked to him for ages.
He just seemed to have disappeared. I mean, we didn't see him produce much stuff after that.
Yeah, life. I guess it takes us in different places at different times. So I never haven't talked to him.
Did you when you worked on, I think, at Feel No Shame, was that your first time meeting Bub?
That was my first time meeting Big Bub.
And you knew he was guy from today, and I like his style.
Yeah, that's another guy. I watched him too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And is I'm getting speechless just thinking about the experience of coming from where I was and arriving at that place with these great artists.
Yeah, I mean, when a lot of people talk about Bob, and I know the fact that you go to Virginia, he's there as well. But what was it like when you first met him? Because he sang the hook on "Do the Right Thing," and he just sang background on "My Prerogative," and so he's been around for a long time with the whole New Jack and today. But did you get to talk to him about what it was like about doing that stuff, or did you learn from him?
I was in the moment, focused on what I was focused on. That was the projects that I was given, the assignments that I was given to produce. I wasn't really. I didn't go into his past like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah.
When you guys finish the Eminem project and handed it back, then what happens then is do you get a call from Teddy after you finish working on the work on Eminem, or is it during or before?
I got a call before Eminem. I got a
Okay,
call before they got signed because I had to develop. I developed a working relationship with Teddy before they got their deal.
okay, but he was in Virginia and you were still in New York, and you would still be able to talk to him, and he was
Yeah, well, he actually sent for me.
wow. What was that like when you heard him call and say, come visit"?
Unbelievable. I remember like yesterday coming home from the studio where I told you I used to work, and my mother said, somebody named Teddy Riley called you. He left his number. I'm like, Teddy who? Then on top of that, he doesn't send anybody else to pick me up from the airport. He picks me up himself.
Wow,
So that was another mind blowing experience.
wow. So you spoke to him. Did he say, "Look, I listened to your stuff, or like you want to meet up," or what does he say?
Yeah, that was the first call. That was I heard your stuff. I want you to be one of my producers. You know, discuss the business, and I'm gonna send for you in a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks. I was in Virginia Beach.
But what about download? Did you have to tell them that you're moving to see Teddy, or did they
No,
or they?
download where they didn't come into existence yet. Excuse me for all this moving I'm doing.
No, 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 that's fine.
I'm in a weird place, and I gotta charge my phone soon, so I may have to. You
Yeah,
may
yeah,
see him shifting.
yeah. Sure, sure, sure. Whenever you're ready, just let me know, and we can pause and stuff. Um, okay, so um, i- because then if when you go to meet him, have you even done the Eminem album, or did you see him then go back to do the album, or
No, I totally met Teddy before the Eminem album. I only did one song, and actually I co-wrote one song with Teddy Riley, and that was the working experience. That it kind of it ended abruptly. There was some changes in the business, and I just co-wrote a song for Bobby Brown with Teddy, and that was the end of our working relationship.
okay? So he was working on the Bobby album. Mary and Marsha were there doing the backgrounds on some of the tracks there. So did they all fly back with? I mean, did you all meet up?
Yeah, I did at that point. At that point, that they wasn't around when I was with him. They were still in New York.
Okay, because so one of my favorite songs, top five favorite songs, is "One More Night" on the Bobby album. That,
Oh,
that
really?
anyone that knows me would tell you that I'll always bring up the Bobby album. "One More Night." It's 6 hours, 6 minutes and 25 seconds. The way it switches, and anytime I speak to any the Flex, so I spoke to Dan Lighty and Eric Williams. They talk about how they were working at MCA, and Louis Sauce Jr. said, "You guys, if you want to learn how to produce, listen to what Teddy's doing." And they played the Bobby album, especially One Night, and they were like, "Wow!" So that's my track. What? How did that come about? I know there was an Eric B sample on it, but how did that particular track come about?
Well, Teddy did the track, and he came in. I remember him coming in out from the main room at Future, and he said, "Do you write?" And I said, "Yes." and he gave me the track, and I penned the first verse.
Okay, so the very first baby. Oh, that was you that wrote it down.
That was me that wrote that first verse.
Okay. So did he have the did he have the that Arabian Rakim sample just going and the whole thing, or was it just a rough? How what was it sounding like before you wrote to it?
It was like that sample and the beat and no vocals, of course. So I just put the melody to it and uh
Okay,
and the words.
okay, and you knew it was for Bobby.
Yeah,
Okay, but you listed as a co-producer. Did you do any other production on it? Or if he pretty much did who did the production on that particular track?
that was Teddy, but I was a co-writer. I wasn't a producer. I wish I
Oh,
was a producer on that.
okay.
Shoot.
So okay, so you when you wrote the lyrics for it, did had Bobby come to record? Was Bobby there then? Did you get to see Bobby?
Yeah, I never got to see him.
Oh, so
Could
what they
we
would have?
pause? Could we pause so I
Yeah, yeah,
could?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure, sure,
Uh,
sure.
yeah,
Y-
yeah.
Yeah. While we do that, I'm just going to. I know a lot of people put some messages here. Um, Akin says didn't have do some stuff. Yep, he did stuff on the Bummy album. Um, Incredible Big Bob. Yep. Yeah, people's just sending some messages here.
I don't know how this is gonna work with this chord. Can I go sideways?
Yeah, you can try it and see.
All right. Y'all are
Uh,
not drunk, all right? If y'all are seeing this, shit.
yeah. Hopefully. Oh
It's not gonna work.
no, it doesn't seem like it. You can try the other side to see if that
No,
works.
I just hold it here.
But are you able to? Um, but
Yeah,
are we able to charge it?
yeah, it's charging now.
Okay.
I'm gonna be safe right here. I just won't move.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. So um, now so you after you penned the first verse, did you who does the second verse then?
Between Teddy and Bernard Bell, rest in peace, Bernard Bell. But between those two, you know, I just did my part, and I was out of there.
Okay. Um, so that's what so you did your part, left and went back to New York to do work with Mary and Marsha.
Yeah, then I joined Down Low Productions, became
So
a
was
part.
it so? I guess by the time you went to join Download, have had you gotten a little bit more of an understanding about the business in any way?
No, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. But um, I mean, people might then wonder because, as I said, you did the wrote the first. How long were you at Virginia then?
I was at Virginia. I was in Virginia for about I don't even think it was a week.
Oh,
It was a very short stay.
was it supposed to be that short, or was it supposed to be longer?
I was hoping at the time it would have been longer, but
Okay.
it was a short stay, and but it paid off for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful for that short stay because I got a song on Bobby Brown. That was that was huge.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it did, but I mean, I guess people did it affect your relationship with Teddy long term?
No,
Did
no, Teddy's cool. I don't talk to him much, but if I spoke to Teddy today, it'd all be love.
Okay. So you go. Were you disappointed that you it didn't stay as long when you went back to New York?
I was disappointed, but only for a while because the down low situation panned out for me.
Okay. Um, did and people didn't talk to you about lawyers and anything like that?
I heard of them, but like,
You didn't think.
like they, I was making $250 a week, and then I
Wow.
was making a lot more money a week. I didn't ask for no lawyers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was just again, I'm just being totally honest with you. I didn't pursue getting the understanding of the business at that point in my career.
Yeah.
So it definitely was a hard knock life experience, but
Wow.
it panned out for me because
Yeah.
now I'm knowledgeable and I can make sure I don't do take advantage of people's lack of knowledge, but I could do the right thing by people because I like to see people win just like I was given a chance.
Yeah. Look, I mean that, and that's one of the issues that we had was people who were taken advantage of did the same so that they could say, well, let me get my end back, and then it started that chain reaction where everyone's stealing from everyone. Just
No, not me.
yeah.
I haven't been
So
perfect. I've done some things, you know what I'm saying? But they weren't blatantly just trying to take advantage of people. Um,
mm,
but it's a cutthroat business, you know what I'm saying? Like most businesses are, people about profit. And if they don't have any morals or anything that will stop them from taking advantage of people that lack knowledge, they're gonna do it. That's the nature of the beast.
yeah. When you finished the Eminem album, um, did you know? Did you have who were you? Did you have a style you were trying to emulate when you were doing the work with them on those tracks? Did you think, okay, I'm going to try and do New Jack Swing? I'm going to try and do what Ellie and Babyface are doing, or what Jimmy and Terry are doing?
I was really, even though I was a love even though I loved New Jack Swing, I was incorporating my own style with it. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? I would say that I would call myself a New Jack baby. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I definitely love the style. I was a big fan of Teddy. You know,
Mm,
and when you're a fan of somebody, you adapt and so but in all of that, I ended up I was a musician, so I could still add my own flavor.
yeah. What did you do after you left? After you finished the Eminem project?
After well, Big Bub was the same. He was a part of the same production company. So
Oh, so it
telling
was
me,
yourself, Bob, and Redhead, or who else was on with Down Low?
uh, I can't remember. I remember there was another rap. I think there was a rap group that was a part, but mainly it was Big Bob and Eminem, and I was after working with Eminem, I worked on Big Bob, and he was on East West Records
Okay,
on
but
the
Down
on
Low,
the
who owned Down Low? Was it
Floyd Norris.
okay? Okay, was he a producer or who just he was a business person?
He was a business person.
like it, not like was it like a? There are two types of business people that we know in the industry. There was Gene Griffin, or there was Andre Harrell.
He was a Gene Harrell.
Okay, very wisely put. Okay, so so you okay, so you guys then did Bob's debut album on East West. That's where you did
Correct.
telling me stories and stuff. Okay, what was the now you'd heard him on Today with doing the stuff with Today and his vocals and stuff. Did you have were you looking to you know keep him in a particular lane or what was the because he's a writer as well. How did you guys collaborate on that?
Um, he had he had his own creative ideas that he brought to the table,
Mm,
and I still had mine. I still was kind of in the New Jack flavor, but I was mixing my own skill set, my own
mm,
musicianship with New Jack.
Yeah.
And for example, telling me stories when I did that record, I played the grand piano um,
Wow.
on that record, and then he just he was inspired to write the way he did, and Big Bub is an amazing vocalist. Like you hear him on the New Jack Flavor records that he was a part of today. But
Yeah.
there is another depth of soul that Big Bub has that is
Yeah.
that is can be compared to Vandross.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? He has a very, very incredible soulful voice, and he's a great writer. So with all those chemistries, we were able to make Telling Me Stories, and that was my first hit.
Wow.
My
I'm sure
first
you.
hit, not like
Yeah.
you know, in those days, the credits in this particular company, it was for this record. It was produced by Download Productions. That's if you ever see the chart, and it will say produced by Download Productions. And I'm like, that's not right. It was produced by Herb Middleton for Download Productions. That's how it read on the charts, though. It was produced by Download Productions.
Was that your first time realizing that things weren't credits were important?
Yes, when I saw it on the charts,
Did they get to correct it, or what happened?
it's a hard knock life. Uh,
I mean, Teddy would tell you the same thing. Gene Griffin is listed as a producer on my prerogative, and and so Gene Griffin produced, and I like, I think all the 2300, all the Jackson, the 2300 Jackson Street, and just got paid. So yeah, so that's why I asked him whether it was the Gene stuff. Yeah, so Gene took all the publish credits on that. Um, Yeah, goodness. But that's when you started to learn about things a little bit more when you saw that.
a little further down the
A
road.
little
I,
further down. Okay,
I
okay.
started taking notice of some things, you know what I'm saying? As time went
Mm,
by, I started taking notice. Credits became important to me because it actually is my resume. It's like if I
yeah,
do a job, my resume, my credits are my on my discography. They're part of my resume.
yeah,
So
yeah. And it's how an artist, because we're going to talk about the work you did on one of the biggest, on one of Mary's most important albums, My Life. Um, but after you'd finished with working on Bob, where did- where does Download Productions say, okay, Herb, we want you here, or what happens?
could you repeat that question?
So after you finish working on Bob's album, does Download Production now start getting artists for you to work with, or do you start getting people call you directly?
Yeah, I remember working with doing a remix for Gerald Levert.
Wow.
Uh and I think that was it on the download. And then the relationship ended with download.
Okay, so you could just leave. There wasn't any. They didn't tie you down.
It was it was a drastic ending.
Okay. Okay. Uh, I mean, how? I mean, listening to that, because I think in some cases, people, there's this assumption that, and I don't know if you've watched Five Heartbeats. There's some perception that you can't just walk away if you want to walk away. But were you in a position where, okay, this isn't working, I'm out of here, and you can go and with your stuff, or well, you can leave, but we're still gonna own your stuff, even any new stuff.
uh it was like get out of here, man. Like it's over.
Okay,
It
but
was
you could keep.
it's and everything that was remained the way it was, and at that point Um, wow, you're really taking me back now. At that point, telling me stories got the attention of Puffy. So that was a critical, transformation from, you know, being with Down Low and then getting a call from Puff
While you're still at downloader or when you've left?
when I left.
Okay. Um, Before we get into becoming a hitman, when did you work with Al Green and Phyllis Hyman?
Oh, that was years down the road.
But no,
That was way after working with Down Low Productions. I had created a relationship with Barry Eastman,
okay,
and
but this is before Phyllis passed away. Then that you did some work with her.
actually it was she had already passed away, and Barry called me in to do some co-production work with her.
Oh, on some of her vocals and some of the things that she had recorded before she died.
Yeah, he had the vocals, and I did some. I forgot do you know the name of the record I did?
No, I'm sure somebody's gonna put it in there now because
Thank
that's
you.
why I was wondering, like, wow, how could you have worked with Phyllis? You must be like 10 or so. So I was wondering,
Oh no,
but it
she had already passed on, and yeah.
okay, okay. I'm sure somebody's gonna put it in there. Okay, so
I just
then
I can't think of the name of that record. That's a shame.
yeah, no, it'll pop out, yeah, and stuff. What about Al Green then? Was this stuff before you joined Bad Boy?
That was after Bad Boy.
Okay, that was after. Okay, okay. So okay, at least we're chronologically now. So you leave. He calls you to and talks about. Look, I heard the stuff you're doing with Bob. Love the stuff. How about joining, becoming a hitman? Um, uh, uh, did you think this is a great idea? Now, as I said, by that time, I'm thinking, had he already come out with Biggie and Craig Mack? Had he already done? Are those records already out?
No, actually, when I got with Puff, he was just leaving Uptown. There was no Bad Boy. I was really one of the first string producers before there was a Bad Boy. Bad Boy came
Oh,
into existence after, you know, not way after, but when he left Uptown, we started. We would all meet up at his house in Scarsdale and just working around the clock, just working. Then all of a sudden, there's a Bad Boy.
so I think because your first, I mean, the first one of the first things we see you on was on Total Can't You See? But Did you work with anything that came out before that track?
I worked on Usher's first album. Usher was 15.
Oh, that's his best album, and people kind of missed. I mean, people might say Confessions, but I think his debut album was his best album. Just I love Smile Again. I love, yeah, that's my favorite Usher album. Oh goodness, yeah, we did a top 10 Usher, and pretty much all the tracks were just amazing. God, I can hear Faith Evans in the background in Smile Again. So that was the first one. Okay. What was that like then? Did you think? What did you, I mean? You must have thought, what's this like? Well, how are we going to work on this small kid and he's singing these older songs?
This kid, like Usher he was the oldest 14, 15-year old. He was the oldest 14, 15-year old that I met that had the biggest hands. And uh, yeah, he had some giant hands. I'll never forget him. And he was very, in the studio, he was very mature. He was very easy to produce. Like even having him go back and forth and around doing the parts right. He worked. He was a good. He was a good 15-year-old.
Tell me what you want to do, Phyllis Harmon. That was the track.
Yeah. Who? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I need
Thanks,
to
Akin.
Kim. We need help with this kind of stuff right here. You watching? Um.
Okay.
Tell me what you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Akin. So, yeah, so, but the, how, I know you did Smile Again. Was there any other one that you did? Uh,
I did some overdubs on that record. Can't remember
okay.
which one they are, but Smile Again. That was uh that was an experience Puff and I had. That was when I knew that things was going to take off because we was on our way to Atlanta and worked at Dallas Austin studio
Wow.
on Smile Again. Yeah.
Yeah, let me try. Yeah, I just loved. I mean, as I said, people might be. Yeah, so Faith did some. Did you meet Dave Hollister at that point? Then.
Yep. I met Dave Hollister. Um, that was my actually I think I had met Dave before through Glenn Jones because Glenn Jones they were good. They were good buddies.
Okay. Yeah. And then you also did Crazy.
Crazy.
So that was written by Brian Alexander Morgan, but you did production um with Brian and Puff. I'm crazy, so crazy on the Usher album.
I did.
Do you remember the
Oh,
track?
I can't remember that, man. Like listen, y'all,
Yeah.
y'all
Um,
gotta excuse me. All right, y'all.
yeah, that's fine. But it's one of the, it's yeah. So Brian penned it, but you co-produced it with Puff and well with Brian and stuff. But so you did it. That was the two tracks that you did. Well, that you're credited to doing on the album. But yeah, Smile Again and Crazy. But yeah, okay. I'm sure you go back and listen to it and you hear your production on it. But you finished the album. Then are you back in the studio doing anything else? Then
After for Usher,
after Usher, yeah, after Usher, after you finish with the Usher album.
then there was Faith,
Okay.
Faith, Faith Evans, our first album. I did one song on that. Don't be afraid. Now I remember that.
Yeah. Now, I mean, what was it like? I mean, as I said, I can hear her all over. Cry, smile again. You can hear her backgrounds and her vocals.
Yeah, yeah.
What did you make? Because I know people were comparing her to May, but there were two different types of singers and different types of emotion. But what was it like for you working with her?
Faith is Faith. Just for sake of expression. Excuse me. She takes you back to church.
Mhm.
Um, so much soul, so much, so many skills in her delivery. She has the ability to do anything that she wants to do, and vocally, and it was an amazing experience. So, I knew Faith before we connected at Bad Boy. I knew Faith for a long time. I knew Faith from back in the day with Three Boys of Newark. So
Okay.
we were like we still talk every now and again.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So okay. Now, by the time you were doing work, you'd just done Usher. You've done some work with Faith. You're getting your names are listening on the credits. But and is anyone telling you, people who have been in the game longer about, hey man, have you got your lawyer? Have you sorted this out? Does anyone not sort of pull you aside and tell you just make sure you have this sorted out, or does everyone just know the trick, see what's going on, but they just keep to themselves?
Nobody's with by the time I left finished with Bad Boy, I got a management team. So when the management team had a attorney that they referred to me, and I used that attorney. So I was, for the most part, I was covered from that point on. But
Okay.
to
Okay.
be totally transparent with you, I still wasn't tapping into my worth. I wasn't tapping into the knowledge and becoming more knowledgeable of the business. I was just, again, just, I was a nut. You know what I'm saying? I was just so happy to be working, man, like, and doing what I love. But,
Mm,
of course, you know, you, I was very passionate. And today, so many years later, I still am passionate, but I'm also knowledgeable of the business. And
mm.
that's the difference. Sometimes you have those hard times so you can have better times. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it happens to black artists and producers more often than any other race. More
Sure.
often, um, and just from experience, I know that if you were in country or pop rock, you probably would get it more likely you get most of the information from day one. They'll actually I don't know if you remember the production group Show Shock and Colin.
I've heard them before. I heard that name before.
Yeah, they did Do for Love with Tupac, and they did Monica's Don't Take It Personal. No, no, Don't Take It Personal. Just one of those things. And they did
I,
Heartbreak Hotel
I
with
remember.
Whitney. Yeah, when I interviewed them, they learned about the business when they were in the native Denmark, and they publishing the whole stuff early on. So before they moved to the US, they've already been told everything. So they were given the label says, "Have you thought of this out?" So that's why it's just sad that actually most black artists are not given the labels on talking to them up front and said, "Have you learned about this and sort this out? Get yourself a lawyer and learn the business." So that's always that disappointment. Um, but you after you've done your stuff with Faith, now who else? Because I know you was doing your stuff solo, but were other hitmen slowly joining in because Puffy had was getting busier with Biggie and Craig and Total and 112 and all that stuff. There must have been a lot of work on the table, and he was getting a lot of remixes. Were you just constantly just then busy, just working on a lot of Bad Boy stuff?
Yeah, I stayed pretty busy with Puff when in the early stages of Bad Boy. Of course, Can't You See, and Method Man with Mary.
Oh,
Um,
you're all
You All I Need. That's I did that. Um, I did a couple of records. Uh, during that period.
So if we go back to Can't You See now, who comes up with the sample, the way the beat and everything?
Well, what happened was Puff came into the studio one day with this beat. He said, "Hey man, could you lay something over this?" And I started putting music to it, and that's how. Next thing I know, it was a smash.
And so what happens? So that so he would come up with a beat. Did you know about say sampling? Like a lot of the new jack. If I speak to some of the guys who are at Future, they'll talk about getting a sample and then looping it and then
I,
building upon it.
Yeah, earlier on, I wasn't a sampler. Remember, I was a musician, so I didn't use samples. Like like on the My Life album, I think my songs were the only songs that didn't have samples. The you know That's not to downplay anybody, any other people that were on the project, but I wasn't into samples early on. I'm still not. You know, I just use samples when it makes sense, or I create my own samples
Yeah.
because I'm able to, you know, I play the bass and play a little guitar, so I could, you know, I could create my own samples.
Well, so, but you're saying that the can't you see that was that free from any sample, or was that
That was a James Brown sample, the Big
okay?
Payback, and
Okay.
so when they put that on, and I just went for broke. There was one melody
Okay.
that I remember Puff was trying to. I'll never forget that. Oh my God, it's hilarious. If Puff sees this, if Diddy sees this, he gonna remember like that melody. He tried to sing a melody to me, and I said, "What is he like?" I had to figure it out. But I heard, I'm sure he's got a lot better since then. But he was singing this melody to me, this one, and so I had to interpret what he was trying to tell me. You know what I'm saying? But
but it,
it all came out. It came out well. You know.
yeah, I mean, when I spoke to Darkchild, he talks about Puffy, and I think does he get enough credit as a producer as it is? Because I think people see him as the front man, and they think he um, just does it. He just puts his name on a record because he to make money from it. But does he get a credit as a having a vision of a song and how it should sound like, and then get other people to join in? Or how would you describe being a producer yourself and working with him?
No. Puff now Diddy. He definitely was a producer. Maybe he wasn't a musician, but he knew what he wanted, and he went after what he heard. And um, you can't. I would never take his producer rights away from him because he definitely has an ear and very has a vision. You know what I'm saying? A great producer always has a vision.
Hmm.
If you're not a musician, you could still have a vision, and you can hire musicians to do a job, and that's what Puff was. So I wouldn't take that away from him. He's a great producer.
Okay. And when you're doing a track like, say, Can't You See, we got Rashad Smith, we got Puffy, yourself, and Chucky Thompson. So how does everyone come on board to do a song like that?
Chucky Thompson was on there.
Yeah, he's listed on Can't You See? He's listed as one of the producers. Rashad Smith, Sean, P Diddy, yourself, and Chucky.
Okay. Uh, that record was. There's a lot of people on that record.
Yeah,
I remember Tony Pope doing the drums. Listen, I just did my part when he when he when Puff brought the track in. I just did my part.
yeah. Okay, but Tony Poe aren't even listed here, unless is
Did not.
Rashad. No.
Maybe it was Rashad Smith.
Yeah, Rashad is listed. Yes,
I,
Rashad.
I thought I thought for sure it was Tony Pope, but I could be wrong. You see, I
Yeah.
couldn't remember my own song because
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Yeah. Then are you involved in vocal recording as well, or just the track?
back then, just outside of Smilligan on the Bad Boy, just the tracks.
Okay, so when the girls are in the studio and Biggie's, that you don't get involved in recording.
No, I wasn't there. Like Bad Boy was run like a machine, like a factory. There
Wow.
was, sometimes Puff had 3 rooms going, and there were two hit factories back in the day. So there, and then there was a quad studio. Sometimes he had hit factory going, hit factory one, hit factory two, and quad going at the same time. And so we just did our work, and if you were in the spot, then you worked. If you wasn't, the train is moving.
Wow.
It was definitely Bad Boy was the truth back then. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, because well, I guess because they were just producing the hits and everything seemed to have come out was a hit. So I can just imagine how they just needed things to move so they can on to the next one. Um, but
hmm
s- let me see if we've got you anywhere else on the total album. No, apart from that, can't you see?
No one else.
Um, pardon?
I think I
After
did no one else.
um,
The
no one else. No, we have Poke and Puffy listed on no one else.
the South Bronx sample. Dun,
Okay,
dun,
unless
dun. No one else.
let me
Now I
see.
know I did that one.
Are you not talking about the no, not the one with the rap version. Um, no. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll find out what the credits are. We'll find out what the credits are. But I think, but apart from so you did Faith, you did Usher, you did Total. Any anyone else that you were doing in Bad Boy? I know we've got a lot of people who put in messages around any work that you did with Alison Williams.
That's what girl. Yeah, I did work with Allison. I have a record that's in my arsenal that is unreleased. Actually, I'm believing that it's going to be released this year.
Were you still a Bad Boy at that time?
No, this is way after Bad Boy.
Okay.
This is way after Bad Boy.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's talk. I mean, after you did the Total stuff, let's just stay with the Bad Boy. Can you remember any of the other tracks? Okay, is that when you went to do My Life after you did Total?
You, yeah, I think they came around the same time,
Okay.
not too far away. They weren't too far away from each other, like those records.
So My Life as an album, I think for most people, it's one of those. We think of River Nation and we think of My Life. That has such an impact. Just the message Mary was singing in there. Although some people would look back and says, "Look, 80% of the album was a lot of samples and remakes, sample stuff." But for the ones that you did on the, did you make? You said you had a conscious effort not to use a sample and try and create something original.
Yeah, I got a call from Puff one day. Said, "Herb, um, I need two ballads, and I know you got them." Those are the exact words. So I was really a balladeer outside of the download, production situation. I was really a balladeer,
Okay.
and so that the ballads that's who I am, who I was. But so that was that was it. Like that, the last thing I did was those two ballads on Mary's album. That just set it off for me.
When we set it off.
I mean, that got me a lot of work.
Yeah, because I mean, we could hear Bub. So does he? So because you did writing on One More Night, but on the Mary stuff, I can see, you gotta believe. It seems if you did the production
Mm.
alongside Chucky, but you didn't do any of the writing.
No,
How did the?
Big Bub. They had Big Bub as a writer. They had Faith as a writer.
Yeah.
Um, they had Terry
FKC.
Case.
F-
Yeah, Casey. That Do you know that you gotta believe was a duet?
okay. Yeah.
It was. It was.
Okay.
It was originally a duet with Casey and man.
And then they
That's why
just took up his vocals. Oh, had they split up by this time when it was coming out, or did they just think it sounded better just with her?
I don't know what happened, but that was a rough season between those two.
Okay. Did it sound better with him on it or without him? I mean, just you being able that you listened to both versions.
Remembering back, like a duet with Mary and KC, it was powerful. It would have been a powerful record, but it's still Mary would still capture the emotion and the soul without
Mm,
him. He comes in. There's a there's a little part where you hear his voice on the record. They kept
yeah.
that. Mary, Mary.
Mary Kai. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. But I can hear Bob doing backgrounds on it. You can sort of hear Bob on the background. Okay. But was he then? You did the ballad then. What did Chucky then do? Does he? Because you're both listed as producers on that.
Uh, Rest in peace, Chucky. That was a big loss to us. To the music industry. Just want to sidebar. Just pay
Mm,
respect to Chucky. That he was a great producer and a great human being at that. Um, that particular record, you gotta believe Chucky. He contributed to the percussion.
okay. Were you doing the vocal recordings for that track as well, or
Nah, that was one of those records that you hit, you do the track, you know,
and
and
then
if
you move,
and
and
if,
they take it?
and if Puff liked the track, he get it to the writers.
Oh, so you do the track and then they write to the track, and
Yeah,
then somebody does the recording.
yeah. Like that was that was that was really that really, when I think about it, it really it really kind of put a damper on my what I love to do more than produce because I'm a writer first.
Okay.
But I was a producer then, and it worked for me. Um, but they
So
they were great. Puff had a writing team. Like he had people with pens. They would come to the office with pens and pads. Like what I'm saying. Like he had it on lock.
okay. So in a way, like you mentioned, like a factory, it's not that if you sat down and wrote to the song, it could slow things down. So just make the music somebody writes, and then you can
Yeah,
move to the next.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it was. It's I don't know what it was, but it was something with. I had this that experience with a couple of um, you know, production companies that I worked with back in the day. You're just a producer, so the writing part, nobody never really paid attention to that, but Teddy gave me opportunity to write, you know, and
And I think that's why I was surprised that you didn't co-produce One More Night, but you said you wrote, and it's like, but we knew you more so as the guy making the music as opposed to the lyricist. So
yeah,
it is a strange irony that you mentioned it.
right,
Did that happen again with Never Wanna Live Without You? You came
yeah,
up with the production.
yeah. I came up with the production and Chucky.
Okay, so did you guys do it together, or you did his stuff, you left it, and he just or
We did it together.
okay. Okay. And I guess you didn't have the opportunity to say to Puff, is it, can I record it? Can I not see it? Can I not try and affect the emotions with it? Or it's,
It was it is like he had a system that worked,
yeah.
and he wasn't deviating from that system that worked. That he had his line of producers, and he had his line of writers, and he put them all together, and he made the Bad Boy brand. He made it work.
So you're saying that after the My Life album blew up and all the tracks on there, did people start looking for you directly, or did they go for Puff to work with you? What happens?
I had a management team there, so they was going through to my management team, you know, because I had developed such a, you know,
Reputation?
yeah, reputation through the, Down Low, Eminem, the New Jack thing, now with Puff. So I had two of the both best excuse me, two of the best worlds in the early '90s. It's
Hmm.
part of the '90 New Jack Swing era, and then I was part of the Bad Boy era. That's monumental.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So today, that to have those, and then having the experience as a youngster, and I'm just thinking about this. This is really good. Like what I'm saying, to have those
Yeah.
things and
Yeah.
all in the pot.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I mean, there are people who you've got a big catalog. I mean, and as I said, I'm going to fire some of those stuff that people have been sending in about, I'll be sure and all that stuff. But by the time you got your management and they're telling you, okay, they're teaching you, oh, okay, this is what needs to do, and credits and stuff. Um, do you then think about what you do going forward needs to be looked at, or do they even try and do backdates and backdates, look for how they get back from down low and early stuff? Your
So,
team. So
the
by the time
management
you get
thing.
your, yeah, do they look, see, let's see if we can try and get some stuff from the old stuff, or do they just say, like, that's gone, let's just go focus on the new stuff?
It was a new focus with the new management team because Kenny
Okay.
Lattimore came along. After Faith, I actually used the same drum sounds on the Kenny Lattimore song. I pulled one of them R. Kelly moves. I I used the same drum sounds on that I use on "Don't Be Afraid." I used that on "Forever."
Okay. Okay. But but you're only sampling yourself, right?
It was a different chord progression, but the drum sounds I remember like yo, you using the same sound.
They don't find out, but I mean, as I said, they won't know. People won't notice, would they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're doing stuff like with Kenny Lattimore, are you still part of the Hitman, or are you like, okay, independent, or what happens?
No, I'm under that management company at that point.
Okay.
I was under the management company.
But then have you left Bad Boy and the Hitman, or were you still in the camp but still had your own representation?
No, I had my just that management company. First Artist Management was the name of the company
Okay.
that I started. They managed my career.
Okay. But then are you still able to, did you leave working with Puff on Bad Boy at that
Yeah,
time?
it was over.
Okay. Okay.
It wasn't a
And
bad. It wasn't bad over. It was just over.
okay. So ha- in those, when you're walking away from like the hitmen and they're constantly getting all this stuff, does it does it can you leave on good terms and say, I've done my time here, it's time to move on, and everyone's like, cool, if we need stuff we'll let you know, or is it like, man, that's it, you never work in this town again? Or how does that end?
Yeah, I mean, my end with Bad Boy Hitman and Bad Boy wasn't on bad terms at all. Like if I was see Puff today, it wasn't on bad terms.
Okay. So when you get this new management company, did they go out looking for work, or do they just are you do you
They
tell
was
them?
coming. They was coming. They was looking for me.
Wow, I mean,
That feels good to say that again. Let me say it. They was looking for me.
okay, okay, okay. It's So, okay, they gave me a list of a long list here. I'll probably start at the bottom. Will Smith, was that when you with the management company?
No, I did Will Smith after the management company. That was independent.
Okay, okay,
I hooked up
uh,
with LDS.
okay. So, I mean, what was the need for having a management company? Why, when you left Bad Boy, could you not just, you know, be independent on your own?
I could have, but we talking about a person who wasn't knowledgeable, still wasn't knowledgeable of the business, and I needed someone to be a mediator between me and the record companies at that
Uh,
time. So it was a need to have a management company represent me at the time because the work was coming in, and it was a good thing.
okay, okay, because the hope is that between the management company and the lawyer, your points and your credits, they make sure it's all taken care of.
Yeah, they made sure I get my money. You know, yeah,
Some of it, a lot more than you were getting before. Okay.
yeah,
Um, we did. Is that when you did? We got Tisha Arnold. So that's Gina from Martin.
yeah, yeah. I did. That was wow. How did that come about? I forgot how that came about. But that wasn't. I don't know. I don't think that was a management company. I don't think I was under the management when I met Tashina.
Tashina, yeah. But when you were working with, what was it? Because we'd seen. I mean, you must have seen her Gina and in how in Martin
Sure.
and from House Party. So you must have think she's an actress. Did you think she could sing? Were you surprised that she could sing?
No, I was no. I had heard her sing on the show, so I knew she could sing.
Okay. I mean, what was it like working on that album?
Oh, that album, that record that I did never came out, and it was through Rufus Black that I met Tashina on.
Okay, but you're saying the because she came out with it. I know she came out with a debut album in '93. Um, but
You
you
see
said
me
you
on it?
no, I didn't see, but I knew that cause I thought you did some work on that, but you didn't come. Okay, it's no, okay, so you met, well, you worked with her later on, but you didn't do anything on her that was released.
No.
Okay, okay. Um, we have. Did you uh, Teddy Pendergrass? Was that a situation where we had his vocals and you did some work, or was it working with him directly?
Yeah, it was his estate. They they wanted me to remix the last song that he recorded before he passed away.
Okay,
So they said, I think Bill Jolly had did the record, but they wanted to add a new flavor to it. So they got me involved and sent me, the vocals. It was
okay.
one of the hardest sessions of my career, actually,
Why is that?
because listening to him while he was weak with the vocals, I can tell that he wasn't the Teddy, but and the song was very moving. I am that I am. You know what I'm saying? I am
Mm.
who I am. That the lyric. Actually, I want to. I'm probably going to spend some time and remix that record because It was a great record.
Hmm. Wow. But what was different between doing that for him and working on Phyllis Harmon? Because they both passed away, and you had their vocals.
Well, the Phyllis Hyman wasn't my project. It was Barry Eastman's. This was my
Okay.
direct project. You know.
Wow. My goodness. Um, the other thing that you did, you worked on SWV's New Beginnings, but it was more the interlude. Why not a track? Well, I don't get how that came around.
Where is the love was actually a song, but
Okay,
it just didn't make the album. Actually, it was released I believe it was released somewhere. Um,
so but yeah, but then where's the love interlude? It was yourself. Yeah, you wrote it with Gordon Chambers, and but you produced it, but it was like 2 minutes. So it was a full song. They just trimmed it down.
yeah, it just trimmed it down. Um, I I gotta take a little break
Okay,
because
okay,
I'm on this medication, to be honest.
yeah,
And
okay,
if
yeah. That's
if you could answer questions, I'll be back. It ain't gonna be that long, and you
yeah,
could
yeah.
meet.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, I'll bring you out and wait for you to come back. Okay, so yeah, guys. So Herb's just taking a short break. Um, and he'll be back. And I'm just trying to look back at some of the things he was because if any of you look at the New Beginning credits, he starts off with doing some of this New Beginning, the interlude. It's him. There's Where's the Love. It's an interlude, and then he does a final one. Um, yeah, so those yeah, then he does Use Your Heart interlude. So that seems strange um, that he was brought in to do that. But if there are any questions that you have from Herb for Herb, but I'm going to talk to him about a number of the other artists he worked with, like Subway and Sounds of Blackness and Nas as well. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that's is really always hard. Um, One of the things that's always hard to listen to is the fact that these artists, these producers and artists, get taken advantage of by those who know better. You know, the fact that he's saying that he worked with two, or, Teddy and Download Productions and the Hitmen with Bad Boy, and no one tells you about the business. No one tells you about what's the points and royalties and publishing and stuff like that. You learn later on, and it's like somebody's taking all that money, which is disappointing, as I said. And it was happening in R&B and hip hop for a long time. Not saying it doesn't happen to other artists, but generally it was happening. It happens a lot more to, unfortunately, to in the R&B and hip hop genre a lot more. So the fact that he's saying, you've almost have to learn the hard way is not great. So Herb is just returning, and so we'll continue there. Yeah. So Herb, I was just saying to everyone about how disappointing it is that um, R&B and hip hop um, seems to take advantage of our artists and producers more so than other genres and stuff.
Right.
Um, but um, and somebody's asked about what your Instagram account is, and so at the end of this, we're going to put up his we're going to be able to put up your IG account and stuff. What is it? Your IG account?
Oh, Herb Middleton one.
Herb Middleton one. Okay. Where? Okay, somebody's just put up there that Where Is Your Love was released on the Greatest Hits compilation.
Oh,
So the
okay.
SW. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you got a great audience, man. They're wonderful. They
Yeah,
helping me.
yeah. Well, they help. Yeah, they're helping me as well. Yeah, thanks, Nell. Um, yeah. So, but you did. Yeah, the interlude. How come? Um, how yeah, we're going to get to where Herb is working now, because I know he's got a talent show that he was looking doing stuff with and stuff like that. But yeah, were you surprised that you did they only brought you in for interludes, or was it like okay, we just wanted to? How's that arrangement? Or why?
Uh, I don't know. I came at the I got a production deal with RCA, and in that deal was it was like 5 records, five jobs to be done. Two of them were with the group, three from the soul, and the other three were included the three interludes that I did. SWV.
Okay,
So
okay,
it came at a very good time. I'll tell you that.
okay, okay. Was things drying up, or what was happening?
I wish I could say it was. They was drying up very.
Yeah, I mean, but why was that? Because um, I mean, at this point in time, I think hip hop was really dominating, and were the budgets and mergers within labels affecting R&B music and production and deals?
At that particular time, I don't think that was what was going on. There was I know there was a major shift with groups. I know there was a I had worked on a lot of projects that
Okay.
um, like Forecast. Forecast was another group on RCA, 4 girl group.
And and so it was like you did the work, and then when they don't release it, you only just get your production the fee, but you don't get any publishing or anything like that.
You can get publishing, but then the record
With
companies
no.
they don't. Then there's when they drop them, then you don't your publishing it doesn't go anywhere because they don't. It's inactive.
Hmm. Um. Some Sheldon asks, how would you describe every producer of his era had a unique sound? How would you describe the Herb Middleton signature approach or style?
Hmm. Um. I produce music from the soul. I I I love. I'm passionate about creativity. So whatever I'm inspired to do, uh, and it depends on who the artist is as well. That helps. Like, cause I'm an individualist when it comes to production. I don't like to make music according to who's in the next room. Like to produce music according to who's in front of me.
Hmm.
And so I custom make music.
Okay.
If
So
that
so what you do for Mary will you it will be very different from what you do for Faith based on.
absolutely.
Okay.
Mary has there's a darker side of music that I used to do for Mary. And there's a lighter side that I would do for Faith.
Hmm. Yeah. The um somebody says you should write a book. Have you got an autobiography going?
I have a book idea. I just have to get around to doing it.
Writing a book isn't that easy.
It really isn't. I wish it was like writing a song. I'd write it in a day.
What was it like? You worked with Nas. Did you start to shift into hip hop, or what was like working with him?
Oh, working with Nas. Like first of all, Nas is a great guy. Let me just say that. Great guy. Talented guy and a great human being.
Okay.
Um, that there was a shift because I always had hip hop in me, but the Bad Boy experience had that introduced me to hip hop on a large commercial level. Of course, working doing the Can't You See, and then working with Nas, it was just in LES because LES brought me on, introduced me to Nas.
Okay.
So it was like, the type of hip hop producer that I am. Even to this day, I can definitely incorporate, 'cause I'm a drummer. Well, I'm a little rusty, dusty drummer.
Well, you said people who have missed earlier. Herb starting off playing the bass, then playing drums, and then keys as well. So musically, you learned that before getting into as a production stuff.
Yeah. So, so hip hop, the way my form of hip hop, especially when it comes to R&B flavor or if anything that's rugged, I mean, I'm just blessed to do it all, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Ask him about Little Mo and Kelly Price.
little more. That's funny that somebody would ask that question because Little Mo, um, I worked with her before at her very very beginning, and she was I didn't even know she was gonna end up being big as she was. Like I actually have a song that Little Mo and I wrote for Faith Evans that nobody in the world's heard. Like
Wow. So before she blew up, before she released, you'd already known her.
yeah, she used to come over to my house. We used to work.
And so when she had already got signed, is that when you did the track with her and Kelly?
No, no, I didn't do the track, but um, I didn't. They were not connected as far as I'm concerned creatively. I worked on Kelly Price separately. That was
Okay, okay. I mean, vocally, how do you compare Kelly Price? Not compare her to Faith or Mary, but what would you say about her vocally, Kelly?
Kelly Price is just she's a powerhouse singer. Her like they I her and Faith Evans they like have that same range of power that high end and can move around, riff wise, and can be very very powerful and could be just angelic at the same time. So
Mm,
they could be a little kitten, and they could be a lioness
mm,
vocally.
yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I've definitely. I mean, I think people would have heard. You always think of Kelly Price with the big vocals,
Yeah.
and
Well, she could be soft. She could be soft too.
mm.
You heard her with Whitney Houston or the song she did with Whitney.
Yeah. So that's what when I spoke to Soul Shock, and he talked about how they just killed it. It was flawless, and in the way they delivered it. Um, y- People are asking, did you has Herb done a gospel album with any artist?
I did do an album with Deanna Ransom. Um,
Did you do anything with and Nesby and
oh
so
yeah,
and
Sound of Blackness, and
Sound of
that's been,
Blackness?
yeah, my sister.
Was that
Yeah,
going back to
Sound
the
of
roots
Blackness.
though? Was that going back to your early roots? I mean, what was that like working with Sound of Blackness? I mean, they were known for their inspirational, upbeat, optimistic is just on and stuff. So, did you feel pressure working with them after Jimmy and Terry had already delivered that amazing debut album?
No, I didn't actually. The song that I did for them, uh, and Nesby's daughter, Missy, had wrote.
Okay.
and it was no pressure. It was just it kind of happened actually. Kind of it was a weird sequence, but it was a good exchange of artistry working with them. Myself and them having that
Okay.
sound, that big sound.
Yeah. Um, so Sheldon Jackson, you did an interview a while ago. You said that every artist should have an individual sound. As a producer, why is it important, considering your producer peers like Teddy and Puffy didn't follow this approach often? So I know you've mentioned that you tailor your sound, your production to the artist, but th- I think I mean, as a producer, was that something that you didn't want? Most of us can hear Timberland production and say, yeah, that's Timberland or the Neptunes, and hear the Neptunes or even Pharrell. I think Babyface, you can hear his synths or his background vocals when he produces stuff, and to some extent, early '80s Jimmy and Terry, you could hear them, but I think towards the '90s you couldn't really tell. I mean, in some tracks, up tempo tracks, you could hear them. Yourself, were you looking to make sure that you weren't pigeonholed the same way? I think Tone and Poke, you could almost sometimes hear them, but did you feel as if you didn't want to have a signature sound where people could say, "Oh, that's another Herb Middleton track"? I think Jermaine Dupri, I could hear his stuff if he does a production. Were you looking to be different?
Yeah, I I don't look to be different. I just am different. Like like I said out to the question that came not too long ago. I produce from what I feel in my soul, like, and I think that's what will make anybody different because the soul is not the same. Like
Mm.
there's different levels of depth to each soul of every human being. So when I produce from my soul and from my heart. Like everybody's heart. Some people don't got a heart, but they don't have one. You know what I'm saying? I produce from my passion, and depends on what the focus is. Um, I I I'm one that doesn't really think about other producers when I produce, or I did early on because of Teddy Riley. Was a favorite of mine early on. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what I do when I work with artists, they say my sound is signature. Some I've heard it. Oh, that's a Herb Middleton track. But you got a lot of great producers out here
Yeah.
in this world, and you know, we all just want to be. I think for me, I just want to share my gift, and
Mm.
and you want your gift appreciated
Yeah.
because you don't want somebody to fall asleep while they listen to your music.
The-
Not unless not unless it's
yeah.
late at night and somebody's tired. But music is supposed to be enjoyed. It's a
Yeah.
gift. You know.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely right. I think the fact that you said it's interesting if you listen to the artist, listen to their story, listen to what comes from them, and then tailor the music to them. Um, More so than I think, because I'm a therapist. And when I work, and most of the people I work with are kids, whether they're in high school or grade school or middle school, and I tailor my therapy to the young child as opposed to, well, this is how I treat anxiety, so this is what we're going to do. It's anxiety in you is going to be different from anxiety to somebody else, so you then need to understand them understand what their fears and stuff is, and then you start working that way. And the hope is, as a producer, you do the same, because what happened in the late 90s, early 2000s is that we had producers who were just making signature tracks and singers were singing them, and we were celebrating the producers, not the artists. Um, you had someone like Ray J singing "Wait a Minute," and I'm like, well, that's a Neptune track, and they could have sang, they could have that could have been Justin Timberlake singing it. Wouldn't make any difference. It's just the fact that you sang it, it's a hit, but it wasn't your vocals, it wasn't your style that we remember. We just remember the beats. The same thing when Timbaland does Icebox. I think I can't remember who he did it for, but it was more so the production is what we remember as opposed to the vocal, the artist, because the producer back in those days then became king, and we followed the producer's sound, and the artist just became a sideshow. So it's interesting that you talk about changing your sound to the artist, and so that the artist stands out as well.
It's not our
Um,
show.
Unfortunately, it became the producer's show when the labels were chasing the hits, and they weren't doing the artist development. They weren't developing the artist. Okay, Omarion, Icebox, yeah, they weren't developing the artist. They were just looking for the hits. So give us a hit, and we would just give us a hit, and it can sound as long as it's a hit. But that's all we cared. And so that was one. Um,
And you know what
you know,
that's done?
yeah. I mean, for me, it felt that's when the industry changed. It felt like that's when we lost the individual artists, and we would just, it was dominated by Timbaland and then the Neptunes, and not that they did anything wrong, but the labels was empowering the producers, and we lost the artists. We lost our music just became just shrunk. We didn't get the individual styles. We didn't have the Phyllis Harmons or the Teddy Pendergrass and those great vocalists who could give us a different interpretation of music. We just got music, and everyone's sounding the same, like what's happening now. Her, Scissor,
Exactly.
all the, and we, they all sound exactly the same, mumbling and stuff, and there's no Coco, there's no Mary or Faith, very distinct, powerful vocals that are interpreting music. We're just getting people sounding exactly the same. Yeah, but as a producer who was there from the beginning, what do you take? What's your take on music today and the artists that are performing now? How do you see it? Because you're much in a very different lens than us.
I see it as I see it as you see it actually, that uh we're in the money, we're in the business, but it's in this business, if the money is the most important thing, there are other things that can suffer, like creativity, individuality, careers. Because you can look for an overnight hit, or you can look for a hit. Mentality, the music, creating timeless music will create something special for the labels, for the artists, and their children, versus a one night hit. Just because that is the hit of the day, I am, as a label, I'm tempted to make a hit like it's playing today. Then every label thinks like that and makes everybody sound like that one hit. And that's what got us to where we are today.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I know during the pandemic, you do a track with Maxine Jones, formerly of En Vogue, during lockdown, or was it like a Christmas? Did you do it? Did you do
I
any
did.
work with?
I did.
Okay, okay, yeah. I mean, what was? I mean, if you're thinking about it, at that point in time, what was the situation with the track?
I just I wanted to do something different for the holidays, and me and Mac have been working together for like a decade now,
Oh,
and yeah, and I I just I wrote this song with a message that could be applied to all year round. You know what I'm
hmm.
saying? It was a fun experience where I've done that even with some artists in the UK that so I've been
Okay.
trained to do that. I've been trained for
I guess yeah, cost of travel and since the pandemic, a lot of people had to be a lot more creative. One of my favorite people and guests is Jackie McGee. I can't count how many times she's been on the show, maybe four or five. Um, and she I know you and her were doing some type of talent competition. What was the situation there?
it's called the Next, and we were and we still are looking for artists to and artists to develop and take under our wings and add all of our experiences to help them get to the next level.
Okay.
So
If somebody, yeah, no,
we're
I'm saying if somebody's watching and listening now and they want to sign up, what is it that you're looking for? And what can they and what can they still get involved?
yeah, they can still get involved. I have to get the information to you.
That's
Um,
fine, and I can post it out with this. That's fine.
yeah, yeah,
So, what do they? What would you need them to do? Just to sign up, or do they have to submit a demo? Are you looking for
yeah.
producers or singers?
Now we're looking for artists as a whole. Not
Okay,
looking for producers. Um, looking for artists. It doesn't matter what genre it is. We kind of changed the rules. At first, we were just looking for R&B artists, but we said we just want to spread it out because we're looking for the right talent to get involved with, and we got a lot of years under our belt together. So you almost talking about 60 years of experience. That's a lot of experience. So
yeah,
and ultimately, our hearts is to we're on one accord with wanting to help artists get to the next level of their career because we know this is not too many. Artist development is very important. And that's another thing that record companies. I don't know if they're doing it now, but I'm big on that. Like for my own label, that's I'm big on that.
yeah. I mean, I think I've got it on your website, so I'm gonna post it in here, um, so people can see. It's the Herb Middleton music, and it's the next. I believe it's herbmiddletonmusic.com / the next.
Yeah, what I'll do, I'll get it to you because we updated it, and
Okay,
if the watchers can tune in with you at a later time, and you can post it,
okay,
or I could email it
yeah,
to you.
yeah. That once you do that, I'll be able to do that. But how did you first meet Jackie? Because as I said, most of us would always remember her signature voice on "Make It Last Forever," which has stood the test of time. The way she delivered the vocals on that. Jackie also toured with Toto. She was also with the Family Strand, and yeah. But how did you connect with Jackie McGee?
We had a mutual friend that that she her name is Valencia, and she said, "Herb, you gotta work with Jackie. You gotta work with Jackie. She was on my back like a jacket. You gotta you got to work with Jackie. You gotta meet her." And we finally met, and we are working. Actually, I just shared one of her songs on my Instagram page today. I got a thing called Gems. And it's where I'm sharing some of the music that I've been working on over the last 20 years that nobody's heard. So I'm going into my bags and just sharing little samples of some of the music that I have been working on.
But so I know you shared "Secrets of the World," the
Riches of
one
the
that
World.
she "Riches of the World," what she did with Chop Rock.
Yep,
Did you do a remix for that or?
I did. I did too. I put
Okay,
the main one up today.
okay. Was that the was that the Nell's accent? Was there any age for the next? Is there any age limit?
No.
No. Okay. I'm just posting your Instagram account so that if anyone is on Instagram, it's Herb Middleton one, the number one. So if you go there, you would see he normally records in black and white where he's playing tracks. And yes, he just posted the Jackie McGee with Chubb Rock on the. Are you also working on any new stuff with Jackie? Because I know she was trying to put some stuff together.
Yeah, we have our schedules have been colliding, but we are going to be working shortly on some new stuff.
Okay, okay. Well, just as I know you've done a lot of stuff, and you know it'd be almost impossible to catch up. Um, and just as we wrap up, did you do anything with what did you do with Al B. Shaw? I'm
I
trying
did
to.
a song years ago with now there's two things I did with I'll be sure. Well, one that featured a remake of his song, his hit Night and Day. I did a inspirational version of that song. And I did a song with Chad Elliott years ago, In the Middle of Your Mind, that never I don't know what happened to it. But it was a great song. But I'll be sure that's another good man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he right now he's really gone on a crusade around organ transplant since his near death experience. So he's really and a very become a political activist around that. Um, but yeah, no, yeah, you've done a great deal, and as I said, people. I'm just going to list some of the people talked about. They said, you know, your work alongside Vincent Herbert. Um, we've got Subway. You know, the group Subway. I think they won Biff 10, weren't they?
Yep, you got it.
Yeah. Raheem Devon.
Yeah,
You did some stuff with the Pilgrim Cathedral Choir.
yep,
Philadelphia Boy Choir,
yep. With Teddy Pendergrass.
Crystal Johnson featuring Five from Tripod Quest.
That's my sister. Yep.
Otis, we talked about your old school stuff, but did you do work with Otis from the Temptations?
He narrated on one of the songs. I got a chance to meet him a couple like several years ago. Got a
Wow,
chance to meet Otis, and I call him Uncle O. And he narrated on a song that I wrote called "It's Time to Love."
wow, yeah. The Temptations were also my favorite. Melba Moore, you did some work with her.
Oh yeah, I had actually a song that I wrote and produced for her went number one in the UK. Not too late, and I'm actually getting ready to release a remix featuring a few artists from my label, Hip Hop Mix.
Wow.
Exciting.
We'll go into your label just as we wrap up. John Legend.
Yeah, I worked with John Legend when he was John Stevens.
Okay.
There's always a before, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. One of the greatest, Jeffrey Osborne.
yeah, did a song. That was a experience too. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't. Jaguar Wright, was she still with the Roots when you did any work with her?
I don't know who she was with at the time. That was a duet with John Legend.
Okay.
Let's do it again. It was
Okay.
the bass player was the artist. Just his name just went that quick.
Jazzy Jeff, did he ever do any solo stuff outside of Will Smith?
Yeah, he did a solo project. It was through him that I met. Originally met Raheem Devon. So
Oh, yeah,
I
the whole
did a,
Philly.
yeah, did a couple of records on him.
So the forecast was the number four cast. That's the group that you did some work with at RCA that never came out.
Right.
You worked with the two Glens, Glenn Lewis and Glenn Jones.
I did work with Glenn Lewis. That wow. Y'all are okay over there, man.
This is
That
yeah,
record, the record never came out, but I did a remix on him. That never. It's called Good Love, I think. Um,
okay. Flowetry.
yeah, I did some bass playing for them.
Okay. And this was when you were, because this would have been the whole, was this all Philly connection at that time?
No, this was through Kenny, then through Ken. Oh boy,
Okay, no.
you know,
Uh,
you
that's
know.
fine.
Uh, are,
It's
are you over 50?
yeah. Well, no, but when you've done a lot of stuff, sometimes not
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What did you do with Christopher Williams? One of the modern day Teddy Pendergrass vocally. What did you?
I did. What's that song? Dance for Me. I love that record, by the way.
Yeah.
Dance for Me and Old Girl.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I just definitely vocally, changing faces.
Yeah, did a song Don't Cry for Me.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
the
I
first
mean,
song my wife and I co-wrote for a major
okay.
artist.
But are you saying because what? Can I know that I've interviewed
Cherie?
Cassandra Luke no Cassandra
Okay.
Lucas, and I know that they were writers themselves, but they were fine with you. You guys just wrote and produced the song for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, Brownstone. What did you? Were you on the first album, or the second?
I think I was on the second.
Okay. Okay. Um, um, Benzino. Did he own the sauce at this time when you did some stuff?
Do you know the name of that song?
No. Let me try and find.
Because I was thinking about that just yesterday. I was thinking like, what is the name of the song that I did with LES for Benzino?
Let me see if
Now,
uh,
if somebody in your audience gets that, they are really good. I need to know who they are.
yeah. Well, I'm sure. Okay. Does anyone know the track that Herb did for Benzino? If you could put it out before we wrap up.
I did it
Az.
with LES.
Oh, you did with
AZ,
Alias. Yeah.
yeah.
What about Az? Because was he still? Were you do stuff with Nas and Az at the same time or separately?
I did the song on the flyers. Uh, I I went under the name Staff.
Okay, you had a different name.
Yeah, I used my name because then with hip hop, I didn't really want to be associated. You didn't know what was gonna come out.
Okay. Depending on who they upset and stuff.
Yeah, this wish.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, while we're waiting for that, so apart from the next, what you've got your own label? Do you have artists that you've signed? Is this hip hop or R&B? So people can know.
We at MoonTown, we are number one. We are stand have want to be known for doing great music with great artists, older and younger. And right now we have Sparky D, Mikey D, T Honey, um, Paracel, J Focus, um, Anthony D. These are all rappers.
Okay,
We have Cedric Mins. He's a rapper from Minnesota. Um, we have that. What else we have? I wish I was. Um, we have John Bossman Hall. He does the James Brown show. We have Theo Love. He's
oh,
sounds like Barry White, and we're growing, and we're a publishing company first that we have artists that are aligned with us. So we're doing artist development, things of that nature. So we're not actually a hip hop label. We are just a great
okay,
music label.
okay. But the business has changed. Where how do you maximize your income when music, and for fans like us, music just seems so accessible that people aren't necessarily inclined to pay for music when you can pretty much get it for free, either stream or stuff, even if I
Well,
watch it on YouTube.
our focus is not really online as much as it is as most labels. Our focus is doing projects offline, connecting with movements, connecting with products, connecting with sync licensing, things of that
Okay.
nature. So we're into the whole spectrum of taking it back to people that really appreciate music, getting
Mm.
to those shows, developing shows, developing tours,
Okay.
education. So we're into more than just entertainment. We're into empowerment and education, and we have young artists that we're entertaining, signing right now, and we have old artists. So we're
Okay.
we're doing we call MoonTown for a reason because we think. Thank you, Isha, Blender, Naughty Virtue. Thank you. Somebody is on my side. We got two artists, and Isha and Naughty. Don't hurt me a little later, right? You know what your boy's going through. Isha and Naughty Virtue, they're both from Jamaica. Amazing talent. I
Wow.
mean, absolutely the singing and we're not just talent based. We definitely look for the character in the artist that represents the company and what we feel is a need today.
Mm. Is Moontown spelled? Is it one word or two? Moon, then town, and is it records or what's it?
It's Moontown. MOO, capital T, one word. OWN, Moontown. Records and
Moontown.
publishing. Records and publishing.
Okay, so it can. Is there a website so people could check? Oh, records and publishing. I've seen it here.
Mhm.
So it's mainly in Herb Middleton music. Okay, is it?
No, there's
Yeah, not Moontown Tunes. Is that it?
no Moontown Records
I'm publishing. So I've
Publishing.com.
seen it on Facebook, and I see it on IG. But do you have?
Yeah, you can go to Moontown Records Publishing.com.
Okay, I'm gonna put it inside here um so people can publishing so people can see. So we've got where's it not showing? Yeah, so we've got Moontown Records and Publishing. So if you search for that, MoonTown Records and Publishing.com, you'd get and probably be able to follow and stuff. Um, okay, so this is the record that you did with Benzino. It is called "What's Really Good."
What? I'm moving to the UK. Where
No,
are they?
Aki, I think Aki, where are you here in the UK? Aki or Nigeria? I can't remember. I mean, but these are people from everywhere. So this is a global, community. So
What's really good? That's the name of the song.
yeah. So you can't remember it.
Let me. When I did the record, it was one of those fast jobs. I did it with LES. LES was handling the business, and I haven't seen or talked to LES forever. And I just yesterday I was wondering because I saw Benzino online, and I wanted to ask him like, what is the song that I did for you with LES?
Okay.
I hope it's good.
Yeah. So yeah. So we got. Let me try. I'm going to be able to look at this. This will confirm because the track is out, and I'll check the credits here, and it would say.
I hope I have
Um,
credit.
yeah, I'm just quickly checking the. Um, no, actually, it isn't really because it's not really giving the actual. And this is at lyrics.com, which generally will list the credits, but it's not listing any of the. It's not listing any of the credits of who did any of the work. It only says featuring Young, Hardy, and Scarface.
So
Uh,
how did they associate my name with that?
no, that's just one. That's just one site. That's just one site. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll be able to find it and stuff like that. But then anyway, Aki's here in the UK. So just in general, so what can people look out for? Just as we wrap up, what can people look out for from Herb Middleton over the next couple of months?
Um, we have a record coming out. We did a cover of I Can See Clearly Now featuring Isha Blender and Naughty Virtue. Uh, we did uh, we did a cover of Mama Said Knock You Out.
Oh, the LL one.
Yes, with
Okay.
Anthony D. We currently have T Honey who has a record out now called Man. And we have a record by Mikey D that we have a couple of records out by Mikey D, who I I call he's a hip hop historian. Um, I'm drawing a blank right now. Could
Yeah, but
somebody help me from the list?
Michael D was on here. He was watching. He just had to sign out, but he had been on watching live.
We there's a record. Oh, and I didn't mention his name, so he probably oh I did. Um, You're Resting. That's a record that's out by him right now.
Okay, okay,
That's a classic record that he talks about his mother's passing.
wow,
Um, I have time for you. That's a record featuring one of the singers from Drew Hill, Scola.
okay,
That's out. That's out. That's streaming right now.
wow. So you've been busy working and producing and releasing stuff all this time.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, so I mean, as I said, the best place to check what you have out is the Moontown Records and Publishing, as well as your IG page.
Yeah. The IG page is basically a page where I'm just connecting with people who are interested in hearing what I've been doing the last 15, 20 years independently. Some artists you may know and some are new. when I took a leave from the mainstream, um, it really, even though things changed for me financially, I was explaining to someone the other day. It definitely helped me find myself creatively because the music industry kind of put a damper on my creative potential, so to
Wow.
speak, because I'm not just ballads, I'm not just up tempos, I'm not just hip hop, I'm not just R&B. I'm everything that my soul tells me I can do. And so I was able to express myself musically with individual independent talent and invest in independent talent. And like I said, it wasn't a happy road financially, but it was a happy road for me creatively. So
Mm.
now having a stronger business mind and a focus, I have these great artists that I represent on MoonTown. And if I forgot anybody's name, y'all forgive me. The
It's
brother,
been
the brother's struggling right now. Yeah.
no, it's been a while. So you know we've had you for a while, but just before I go, all my guests I always ask them this question: is that if you were stuck in an elevator, pretty much I'm trying to find out what's your all-time favorite movie. Like if you know what's your go-to movie.
Coming to America.
Okay, the first one or the new
Oh,
one.
the first one.
Okay, okay, yeah, okay. And then song wise, then you know, not anything that you produce, but just song wise, what classifies as your all time favorite song?
Hmm. I'll be there.
Is it Full Tops?
Yep.
Okay, okay. I mean that's definitely a good one, especially as you're a Temptations guy, and now you pick the Full Tops.
Yeah, yeah. That that guitar at the beginning, it just does something to my soul. It's just like it's so pleasant and happy. That
Yeah.
progression. Dun 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 dun.
You've got to be a musician to understand
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then I think finally, as a producer, what will make your top five Herb Middleton productions if you had to, you know, submit it to the Congress? Is it the U.S. Congress, Library of Congress, or whatever? They said, give us your top five favorite productions that you've done over your career. What tracks are you sending in?
I'm gonna say put it on paper with Al Green. Can't you see?
Yeah.
Total featuring Biggie. Never want to live without you, and you gotta believe by Mary. Um, Unreleased.
No, no, we need to know. We need to have heard them.
um, there's so many.
Oh, you named four very quickly, so you it was all, you have
Yeah,
two of the My Life albums, which are classics. You had Can't You See, which is a massive classic, and you've got a work with the Reverend Al Green, which is, not anyone can do that, say that they've worked with Al Green. So I'm thinking final, yeah, if you had a final one, yeah.
final one. This is why is this so hard right now?
For me, I mean, I'm surprised you've left out Smile Again, because that is such a, I mean, an amazing ballad. But people might say,
I'm gonna go with you. Smile again.
okay, Smile Again. Yeah, and then I guess as a producer, if you were to put five producers on Mount Rushmore, which five will make it for you? Producers.
Timberland, David Foster,
Oh, David Foster. Wow, that's a
David Foster, Truth. Um, Chucky Booker.
okay. Chucky.
Chucky's that guy is he's on another level.
Wow.
Um, Teddy Riley,
Okay.
Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I think most people, most R&B people might be like, "What, David Foster?" But when I spoke to Chucky last week, he says hands down David Foster. So it's interesting that you put both of them together. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
because he says the only time he's found out was when he met David Foster, and he says, yeah, David, yeah, that David was on another level, and I think for black art music fans, we'll be like, what, David Foster? Because we remember him for a lot of his ballads, but we're wondering, there must be stuff that he has done that as a producer you see and hear that's like, wow,
He's a musical genius. If I
wow.
have another one, if I have
Okay,
one more Babyface, without question.
okay. Is it Babyface or LAM Babyface? They're two different genre. I mean, would you look?
Like Babyface to me, like I know they work together, but
Mm,
Babyface is still like by himself. He still holds it down for me.
okay. Wow. So, I mean, yeah, you've really held it down for us to, and I know it's getting dark out there, but thanks, Herb.
Yeah, I'm starting to disappear, right?
Years started to disappear, but we really appreciate it. And so the fans, your fans are going to be. I will once Herb sends me the details for the new competition where they're looking for talent. No age limit. They're looking for mainly vocalists and stuff. So we'll post that as well, and then I'll also hit the website for MoonTown Records and Publishing, and then post that so that if anyone's interested in what's going on and or trying to sign up, that you're able to do that. But Herb, definitely appreciate you being live with us. You can see a lot of your fans know all your stuff, and even though you can't
Yeah,
remember a lot of the tracks, they're like, "Yes, he
yeah.
did this, and what about this?" And you naming people you probably forgot about, and that shows how much people appreciate what you've done, even and really appreciate the memories. As I said, I love what you did on the Usher stuff. Loved what you did on the Mary stuff. Even though you probably didn't get the due credit financially that you deserve, but you get credit from the fans who listen and appreciate the music that you've done and stuff. And we're still happy that you're still making music. So, and I'm going to share those details once I get them from you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Shout out to
Yeah.
the staff at MoonTown, every one of y'all. I'm not gonna call them any names.
You
Every
could-
one of y'all.
in case you for- in case he forgets about you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people are, yeah. But as I said, um, "One More Night" is my one of my top five songs.
that's
And the fact,
amazing.
yeah, I mean, I'm speaking to Mary Brown in a couple of weeks. Um, I've spoken to all the other engineers at Future, Sprague and Mucho, and the guys at Blackstreet who are around, and I tell them everyone knows that I love the whole I mean, how did was it like listening to the finished product? Because you wrote and you went there when Bobby recorded or when Mary and Marsha and Bob and them sang the backgrounds. I mean, what was it like? And Levi Little from Blackstreet sang all the background. But when you listened to it finally, what did you just did it was it what you expected or was it even better?
Um, I was just a happy guy to be a part of the process. Like to be honest with you, like I did my part, and when I found out that the song made the album, I was ecstatic. I was very excited. Cause
Yeah.
you never know. You could do work and you never know if it's gonna make
Okay.
the final cut. And so that song for me being a part of that it definitely made a difference in my life on a different levels.
Yeah, but it's just give me one more. Yeah, it's just it is an amazing track. So you wrote the first. So he wrote the first part of it. Um, yeah. So loved the song, loved everything about it. Yeah, and so I appreciate the fact that I wish as I said, you went, and the people should realize that actually you did the lyrics as opposed to the production, but people forgot that and they just went straight to you as the producer. But yeah, anyway, you're writing, you're producing now,
Yeah,
and we look forward to see more of your stuff.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
you will. You will. I'll definitely be the first to, or the second or third to hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've kept Herb for a long time, and he's been a trooper and stuff. And I know guys that just people are coming in and saying, and 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 putting all the stuff that we've talked about. Yeah, in the SWV interviews. Yeah, we've spoken about that. If you really want to go, I don't know where that track
Oh
that was.
yeah. If you really want to go, that's another group that was didn't get their just due. Crazy.
Wow. Wow.
From Philly, a guy group.
Wow.
Amazing
Yes.
thing.
Yeah, there was so much stuff in there, but the labels. Anyway, Herb, we want to appreciate your time. Thanks for being here for this long.
My
And
pleasure.
as I said, once you send me the stuff of your label as well as the next competition, I'll post it out, and I put out your IG account so people can subscribe and follow you on there as well. But
Okay,
thank
I thank you. I thank you for the interview. It was my pleasure. It was educating for myself. I was finding out things about my.
No, appreciate it. Well, thanks a lot, Herb, and we wish you good night.
All right. Good night to you. Cheers.
Take care. Uh, guys, want to thank Herb Middleton for taking his time to speak with us. Thanks for you guys for your questions as well, because that really makes a massive difference in the interviews when you ask, when you contribute like that. Aki, thanks a lot. Um, Tap Records and Avon and everyone, thanks a lot for sending your questions as well. And I will be posting Herb's MoonTown Records and Publishing. I'll post the details. I'll also post the details of his the competition that he's running with Jackie McGee. It's like a think about American Idol or X Factor, but they're looking for talent that they can develop and stuff. I'll post those details, and yeah, thanks for watching and stuff. Stevie and I and Sheldon are back this Sunday with a special guest. We are going to count down our favorite tracks of the Guy album, the debut Guy album. So if you think about it, Groove Me and Piece of My Love and Goodbye Love. So there are 10 songs on the Guy album. And Stevie, Sheldon, and I are going to be looking at ranking at all the songs from 10 to 1. But we've got a special guest, Corel Henderson, who was in Kids at Work. That was the group with Tammy Gatling and Teddy Riley. And with Gene Griffin, there was a group that he signed. And when Gene went to prison, the group disbanded, and Teddy and Timmy found Aaron and started Guy. So Chlorel is going to be our special guest on Sunday. So join in for that. I may have a special surprise interview on Saturday live as well, but we'll see when that comes. So thanks, guys. It's we I really enjoyed Herb, and I really enjoyed everyone taking part with us live. All right, take care.